Testing 1, 2. Welcome, Real Life. Good to see you. How's everybody doing? Glad you're here. What an amazing, I can't believe it was Easter last Sunday, just 1 week ago. Amazing life change everywhere. Over 2,200 people joined us in person or online, we just loved all the feedback, all the prayer requests, all the decisions, all the commitments, and it was just an incredible, incredible day. Many of you have asked about the There Was Jesus life change video. That's going to get posted on our social media platforms later today, and we encourage you to spread the word, share it with your friends, and just let them know about all the life change happening here at Real Life. And so I just want to say to those in Austin, welcome back, and want to ask you, if you would, Austin campus, to help me welcome your church family in Corpus and online. God loves you. We're glad you're with us. Well, the Masters has been going on this weekend, and if you're a golf fan, you know all about it. But the big story of the Masters is not the changes on the leaderboard. The big story is how Rory McIlroy actually hit his dad with a golf ball. If you hadn't heard about this, I mean, his dad's fine, but Rory on the seventh hole on his second shot, his dad's standing in the gallery there, and his dad often will position himself so, his son can kind of know how to aim when he can't see the flag, can't see the hole, and so, Rory often aims toward his dad. This time the ball didn't move. It went straight toward his dad, hit his dad, and his dad's fine, and so walked away and everything. And so it's a big laugh on ESPN about that. But when I saw that, heard about that, I thought about the fact that the people that we love the most, that are there for us, that are trying to help us, and that we would say we love the most, are often the people that we hurt. Even when we're not trying to, we don't intend to, but unfortunately the people that we hurt the most often are the people that we would say we love the most. We need this series. Today we start a brand new series called Remedy, and we're gonna have a whole new way to look at relationships, and we really need this series. I wanna say in a personal way, if you're here and you're in a relationship that's struggling, don't miss a single message in this series. If you're here and you say, well, man, all my relationships are great, our marriage is so good right now, I would just say, why settle for good? Go for great. Every relationship can get better, and so don't miss a single message for you either. But turn your Bibles right now to Luke chapter 10. Hold your place there. If you don't have a Bible, I'd love to give you one after the service. And then also take out your message notes or download them online. And let's start with the remedy, the name of the series. What is the remedy? What's the answer to all the tension and all the conflict, all the disharmony, all the crisis in the world that we see? The same answer for the crisis in the world is the same answer for all the conflict and all the disharmony and all the conflict in your world. The answer, the remedy is one word. I want you to write it down, L-O-V-E. Love. We're going to spend the next several weeks talking about love. And of all the goals that you have in your life right now, you may have goals for your career, or goals for your finances, or goals for your health, or goals for some other personal achievement, goals for your work, whatever it is. I want you to read with me just how important love is on your goal list. So let's say this together, Real Life. 1 Corinthians 14:1. In your notes are on the screen. Even if you're alone right now in your apartment watching this, read it out loud. Here we go. Say it with me. Let love be your highest goal. Notice the exclamation point. The number one goal in your life should be to love. That's the primary objective of life. It is the supreme value of life. It is the most powerful force in the world. And if that's true, if it has that much power, if it's got that much important in our relationships, let's spend some time talking about it. And let's start with this question: what is love? Now, that may sound like a crazy question, because you may be like, I already know that. I know what love is. I've got a love songs playlist on my phone right now. I got love all down. We need to talk about this because if you think about it, isn't love one of the most overused words in our culture right now? I mean, just throw love around like the word is everywhere. And it describes all kinds of emotions and feelings all over the map. Because we can say things like, I love my country. I love God. I love my family. I love really spicy food. And I really love pizza. I love donuts. And I love my wife. And I love my dog. Now, is all that the same? All that the same level? I hope not. but we need to talk about it because we throw it around, and we've got love songs, we got love, radio stations, we got love stories. We've got the Hallmark Channel. We all know what love is. Starts with a glance, a moment. Then there's some tension. Then we come back together, and then we always kiss at the end, and it snows. Fade to black. We got this. We know what love is. Why we got to talk about this? Let's just start with a definition. So I looked up the definitions for you. Now, I went to Google, okay, and I typed in the search definition of love. That's what I typed in. Here's what I got from Google. Top 3 answers. Do not write this down. Number 1, an intense feeling. That's number 1 answer. Number 2, a great interest and pleasure in something. Number 3, to like or enjoy very much. Guys, we got to talk about this. That's all you got. That's the best Google can do. So then I thought, okay, let me go to Webster's Dictionary. Do you guys remember back when the dictionary was an actual book? Anyway, okay, so now it's like Webster's.com. So I went to, the number 1, typed in definition, got the, there it is, search engine, go to Webster's. So surely you'll know. So I typed in Webster's Dictionary, the word love, and these are the top 3 answers, okay? Number 1 answer, attraction based on sexual desire. Now, you know how the dictionary always gives you like a sentence in case you don't understand the definition? Let's use it in a sentence, okay? Here's the sentence for that. Quote, they were lovers. That kind of clears that up, doesn't it? Okay. Number 2 answer in Webster's, to embrace sexually. Use that in a sentence. Guys, you cannot make this stuff up, but here's the definition from Webster's. Quote, one of the young men made love with the village girl, end quote. Surely the third definition will help us in Webster's. Here it is. To have a romantic episode. And then it says in colon, to have a love affair. Isn't it interesting that Webster's doesn't even use an example of marriage as to where you can find love? You've got to go outside your marriage to find it somewhere in an episode. Now, in case you don't understand that definition, they use it in a sentence, and you cannot make this stuff up. Here's the sentence Webster uses. I quote, they had an amorous episode of copulation. Guys, we need to talk about this, okay? Because this is not helping. Our culture does not even know what love is. And here's the big problem. We know more about sex than we do love. Here's an even bigger problem. We think they're the same thing. Junior high students know more about sex than love. And we need to spend some time on this because love is so powerful, so important. It's the highest goal of our lives, but we don't even know what it is. And I'm talking about mature, real, Christ-like love. Nobody knows what it is because we've got radio stations that play love songs all the time. But if you listen to the words of those songs, 99% of them are not love songs, they're lust songs. Lust is about what I can get from you. Love is about giving patiently with kindness. As an example, Cardi B, #1 artist. Actually got a Grammy. This girl got a Grammy for Artist of the Year, new Artist of the Year. And so I thought, okay, well, surely Cardi B knows about love. So I went to some of her lyrics for the song she's written. Cardi B doesn't know anything about love. Seriously. I can't even read one lyric up here from her songs, but I just had to stop reading and go take a shower. Her songs are about sexual violence, rape, prostitution, taking advantage of somebody else, pornographic expressions, body parts, getting all you want for yourself and forgetting everybody else. I can't even tell you the name of the song she performed at the Grammys on TV. And I couldn't read one lyric to you about it. It's that pornographic. The National Center of Sexual Exploitation said, I quote, Cardi B's music is leading to the sexual exploitation of women. And that's the new artist of the year. We're in trouble. We've got to spend some time looking at what real, genuine, Christ-like love is, because the culture doesn't have a clue and it's influencing us. So let's just get some definitions. And again, I'm just going to lay the foundation for the series. We're going to have fun, but we're going to realize how important it is. So let me start by giving you the foundational definitions. First of all, write this down. Love is a command. God commands you and I to love each other. It is not optional. And if we don't do it, we're sinning. And in this series, we're going to learn from the greatest lover of all time, Jesus Christ. And we're going to see what he does in these relationships. But look at what Jesus says. John chapter 13. Look in your notes, they're on the screen. Look at what Jesus says in verse 34. He says, so now I'm giving you a new commandment. We just got done with a series on the 10 commandments. Jesus says, I got another one for you. Matter of fact, it sums up all of them and the motive for all of them. And I want you to say this new commandment with me. It's 3 words, real life. Let's say it together. Here we go. Love each other. Say it one more time. Love each other. That's the commandment. So he says, love each other just as I have loved you. You should love each other. I want you to turn to your neighbor right now and tell them, I have to love you. Just go ahead and tell them. I was on the fence, but now I realize I have to love you. Okay? It's not optional. Which, by the way, next to love is a command, extra note takers, write this down. Love, that means this. Love is not a feeling. This shatters the myth that love is a feeling. No, it's a command. And I can't command a feeling. If you've got kids, you ever had a kid like throw a fit, get mad, start crying, like just really throwing a tantrum? Ah! And you're like, I command you to be happy. Doesn't work too good, does it? You can't command a feeling. Sometimes you can't control emotion. And God's not going to ask you, God's not going to command you to do something that's a feeling. You can't always control emotion. Love is a command. Also, love is a choice. Write that down. It's a choice. We choose to love. We choose not to love. It's a choice. And if you say, well, I do not love my spouse. I do not love my kids. I do not love my parents. I do not love my friends. I do not love my coworkers. I do not love my boss. All of those statements are 100% your choice. And that destroys another myth. The other myth is that you can't control love. Just uncontrollable. You just can't help it. You just can't help that you don't love them, and you can't help that you do. And have you ever heard this phrase like, I fell in love with them? You ever heard that? As if I couldn't control it. As if love was a hole. You're just walking along one day, minding your own business. And you saw them, and it was like, help, I'm stuck in love and I can't get out. I have fallen in love. You can get out, okay? Love is a choice. Get out of the hole or stay in it. Love is a choice, okay? It's a myth to say you don't choose it. Look at Romans chapter 6, verse 16, and it says, if you help me out with 3 words here, let's say it together, choose to love, okay? If you choose to love, love is a choice. Watch this. If you choose to love and obey God, He will lead you into perfect righteousness. You are 100% in control of and responsible for your choices. Now listen to me, the number one choice you can make today, and I appeal to you to make today, wherever you are listening online, right here in the room in Corpus, choose to love God. Choose to follow Him. Choose to go His way, and He's going to lead you into this amazing life of real, genuine love. Love is a choice, and your relationship with God is going to help you with all your other relationships. When you choose to love God, it's going to change all these other relationships because you're going to choose to love the people around you as well. Look at 1 Corinthians 14:1, how it's translated in the Message paraphrase. It says this: go after a life of love, as if your life depended on it, because it does. Circle go after. That means make a choice, decide, you're in control. Choose to love God, choose to love people, and realize that when you choose, you can choose to love or not to love. Can't tell you how many conversations I've had with men and women trying to justify a separation or divorce. And they'll just say, well, Pastor, I just don't love him anymore. I just don't love her anymore. And that's really not an accurate statement, as if you're totally out of control. And no, love's a choice, so you need to rephrase that. I am choosing not to love him anymore. And I am choosing not to love her anymore. So love's a choice. You can choose. You can choose to keep on loving even when it's hard, even when it's difficult. That's your choice. In fact, the truth is choosing to love somebody is actually a greater, mature love. When you choose to love somebody when you don't feel like it, that's a higher level of love. It really is. And so write this down. It's because love's compassion and action. Love is doing something. It's seeing a need and meeting that need even when you don't feel like it, because it's a choice. Now let me ask you this question: if you have kids, you ever gotten up in the middle of the night to help your kids who are sick? And you didn't feel like it, but you did it. I mean, it's horrible timing, right? It's 1:30 in the morning. That's your REM sleep. That's when you need deep sleep. And you hear like the sound of someone vomiting in the bathroom. And your child's in there throwing up, and they're sick. They got some kind of illness. And, literally in your mind, you're like, you have got to be kidding me. I do not want to get out of bed right now, and I definitely don't want to get out of bed and see what is happening in there based on those sounds. But what do? You choose to go help them when you don't feel like it. You choose to go help them when it's not convenient, because love is compassion in action, and you do it. You move toward that need because you want to help that person. You see the need. And love is choosing to put compassion in action when you don't feel like it and even when they don't deserve it. Do you know that's how God loves us? Did you know that God gives you and I what we don't deserve? He doesn't give us what we deserve. If God gave me what I deserve, I would not be standing up here. And you wouldn't be alive either. God doesn't give us what we deserve. He gives us what we need. That's what love does. Grace, love. God says, I see a need, I'm going to meet it, and that's what real love is. Love is giving to another person without any guarantee of getting anything back. And if you give something to somebody expecting to get something back, that's not even love anyway. Love is compassion in action. Now, Jesus gave us this golden rule, Matthew 7, verse 12. Here it is in your notes on the screen, and he said, do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. If you're throwing up in the bathroom at 1:30 in the morning, you would like for somebody to come help you. You go do that for somebody else. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and the prophets. In other words, this summarizes the whole Bible. Do to others whatever you would like for them to do to you. Jesus did this. Example after example. And what we're going to do in this series is see how he did it. Learn from his example. And it's so practical, so relevant, how Jesus loved people. Because love really is the remedy to all our relationships. And so today, let's just start the journey, okay? How do you start growing in love? I mean, the culture doesn't know what it is. Christ does. So let's dig into this and just begin again by just laying the foundation. Let's look at 5 ways to grow. So I'm in Luke chapter 10, and you probably know this story, the story of the Good Samaritan, but what we're going to see is how this story relates to relationships and how you can grow in love, okay? And again, let me just remind you, if you want to know about love, do you want to go to Google or God? You want to go with God. That's a good answer. Okay, so look at how Jesus shows us. He says, he's asked how to love people, who's my neighbor, what does it mean to love my neighbor? And so he's going to give a story. Jesus often answered a question this way. Look at verse 30. Jesus replied with a story. A Jewish man was traveling from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and he was attacked by bandits. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him up, and left him half dead beside the road. If you're taking notes, write this down. If you want to grow in love, real love, genuine, Christ-like, mature love, you have to remember that everyone around you is hurt and wounded. Everyone. When someone is hurt, they can't be a healthy interaction with you because they're wounded in some way. And when you remember that, when you remember someone is hurt, it actually helps you stop with all the things that the culture's teaching us. And all of a sudden, when I see you as a person who's hurting, my prejudices go away, my presuppositions go away, and I can really genuinely interact with you. And even past arguments we may have had go away because I care. Now, if you've ever been so mad at your kid, you're like, I want you to go in that backyard, and I don't want to see you for an hour. Let's make it 2 hours, okay? Let's go out there. And so you're so mad, you don't even want to see them. You don't even have them in your presence. And they go out there, and they don't mean to, but maybe they're on the play equipment, maybe whatever, and they get hurt. And man, their fingers bleeding. They're like, I'm bleeding, you know. And what happens to you? You're the same person that's like, go out. I don't want to see you. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, are you okay? Well, what happened? What happened to you? I mean, all of a sudden you were, and walls were up, and then compassion happened. And all of a sudden, watch this. You saw beyond the reasons why we're not going to be friends right now, and you saw a need and realized you're hurting, and I want to help. That's what compassion does, and that's what action does. But I got to remember that you actually are hurting, and that hurt actually is hindering possibly our ability to connect, because hurt people hurt people. I was at the youth retreat, and one of our pastors had his back to me, was talking to someone else, and so I came up behind him and just put my hand on his shoulder. I did not tap his shoulder, I did not hit his shoulder, I just put my hand on his shoulder. I did the whole, hey, Micah's got his hand on my shoulder thing, okay? And so I put my hand on his shoulder, and I didn't know this, but his shoulder was really, really hurt. I did not know that. But I put his hand on his shoulder, he turned around, pushed me away, and did like this, and I'm like, oh, we're about to throw down? I didn't know you were mad at me, but I still got some mood. Well, what happened? There was a wound I didn't see, and when I touched it, he had a reaction to me that wasn't about me. And I need you to hear me. Everybody that you interact with has things in their past, probably before you ever met them, and they were hurt. They've been through pain, possibly trauma, but they've been through loss. They've been through grief. They've been through problems. And those things, that baggage, if you will, is going to hinder them from interacting with you. And that helps you not give excuses for, but definitely have compassion for, like seeing beyond that rude behavior and some of those unhealthy tendencies. And if I'm going to grow in love, watch this. True love doesn't ask, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing that? Real love asks, what happened to you? Obviously, you're hurt some way. Here's a second thing. Identify what prevents you from loving others. If you want to grow in love, you got to remember people are hurt around us, they're wounded, and we are here as God's hands and feet to help them. But also, there may be some things that are keeping you from really loving people. If love is a choice, why aren't you choosing it? And there's reasons for it. And so, Jesus commanded you to do it, but you're struggling with it. Well, here's the story. So this guy's attacked by robbers, beaten, left for dead. Who could possibly ignore this kind of need? I mean, it's obvious. Who is not going to have compassion? Who's not going to choose to help? Well, the pastor. So Jesus throws the pastor under the bus. Here we go. Verse 31, by chance, a priest came along. Surely the priest is going to help. Nope. When he saw the man lying there, crossed to the other side of the road, passed him by. Wow. Man, the pastor just changed his lane, sees the hazardous lights on and says, whoop, got to go. Bye. Okay? Well, here's the next person, a temple assistant. Well, that's kind of like somebody who leads a volunteer group. I am a leader at the church. Okay, surely they're going to stop. Walked over, looked at him lying there, but he also passed by on the other side. Now, this is even worse. See what they did? They're like, walk over there and go, wow, that's bad. Man, you're really hurt. Got to go. Unbelievable. What in the world? Why wouldn't anyone? What is preventing these two from showing compassion? The same things that prevent us. Let's write them down quickly. First of all, I get too busy. The priest had to get to Jerusalem for work. And the laws in Leviticus say if he stopped and touched someone unclean, he'd have to go all the way back to Jericho, change clothes, and then go to work. He didn't have time for all that. He didn't have the bandwidth to help, okay? He's busy, and he's got stuff to do, and we get busy too. Our schedules are so stacked, we don't have time to see each other. Let me just say a word of warning. Even with kids' sports, this can happen. Why are you doing kids' sports? Well, because we're a family. We're building memories. We're having a great time connecting. Oh, yeah? Is that what happens on Saturday? Where is the bag? Where is your glove? Who forgot the Gatorade? Seriously? And all of a sudden there's this stress, and I can't see you because I'm busy. And the schedule is dictating my stress instead of me taking time and going, are you okay? I don't have time to see you right now. I'm busy, okay? It can happen to all of us. Here's another one, hurt. The person in the story is the person who's hurt. He's attacked by bandits. And he's struggling. And listen, when you're hurt, you can't help anybody. So you've got to be honest and self-aware enough. Where are you hurt? Some have been through trauma, and you haven't gotten maybe a counselor to help with that. Maybe talk through it. And that hurt is hindering you. The loss you've been through, the pain you've been through, maybe alcoholism, whatever it is if you're not healthy, you can't respond in a healthy way. And so if you're hurting, you can't help. Here's another one, prideful. So the priest or the temple assistant, I got a name tag on. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm the priest. I'm the temple assistant. And pride gets in the way all the time. It's like we get judgmental. It's like, what were you doing on this road by yourself anyway? That would never happen to me. And all of a sudden we're looking down at someone. Listen to me. When you are full of yourself, I don't have any room for anyone else. I'm too full of myself to think about you. Here's another one, selfish. I can't think about what you need because I'm focused on me, what I need, my time, my schedule, my agenda, my goals, my priorities. And write this one down, stingy, which is my money. If I help you, it's going to cost me, and I'd rather spend my money, my time, and my energy on me. And that's what's going on in this story. Is what happens with us. And just understand, if you're not loving your spouse, if you're not loving your kids, if you're not loving your friends, it's usually something happening inside of you. The priest and the temple assistant, they had really never dealt with what was preventing them from stopping. Who would not meet a need this severe? Well, when you just keep moving and you don't identify what's preventing you, you can miss those things. And this is the priest. He should stop. You know why he doesn't stop? He's got to go give a sermon about how you need to love people. It's like, what? As Christians, we're called to love people. We're called to be a light to the world. We're called to be an example. Jesus says, this is how people are going to know that you follow me, because you love each other. But we can miss it because we can easily get too busy, too selfish, too prideful to be compassionate. Now, before we started this message today, if I asked you, hey, why don't you love that person in your life? You might have said something like this. Have you met them? Have you met my kids? Have you met my spouse? Have you met my friend? You know, and all of a sudden you kind of give excuses because of their inadequacies, like they are not nice. They are always rude. I don't know if you know what they did. They did this or they did that. And we can give all these reasons and say, well, you know what? They never say thank you. Well, I don't love my parents because they're just not nice, whatever. And now, all of a sudden, wait a minute, we're realizing, can the priest and the temple assistant give that? Like, why didn't you stop and help this guy? Can you imagine the priest and the temple assistant in an interview, like, why didn't you just stop to help this person? They go, he didn't wave. He defriended me on Facebook last year. He left me unopened on Snapchat. He's hurt. He cannot lift his hand and wave at you. His hand is broken, okay? And all of a sudden you realize you aren't choosing to love, and the question is, why? So learn what is preventing you, all right? So here's the third one. We got to learn how to love others, and that's what we're going to do in this series. And we've been taught by the culture, but Jesus says, I got to reprogram you. And he's got to reprogram all of us. How can we start to love? And I just want to, just help us, nudge us. How do we start to love our spouse again, love our parents again? Really, really love our friends again, our coworkers. And so enter the hero of the story. Look at verse 33. Here he comes. Then a despised Samaritan, the most unlikely person. And in case you didn't know about Samaritans, they're despised, okay? So the most unlikely person, doesn't matter who you are or what station in life that you are, when you choose to love, you're the hero of the story. He came along, and when he saw the man, he felt compassion for him. Circle two things. Saw the man. In order to give someone what they need, you got to see them. Not what they're wearing, not the color of their skin, but what's really happening in their lives. Not what they're posting on social media, but them. You have to see their needs. You have to have compassion for them so you can minister to them. And that word compassion, circle that, is love. That's love, compassion in action. Love sees what a person needs and then gives them what they need. Now, in 1992, a Christian counselor named Gary Chapman wrote a book, a very famous book called The Five Love Languages. And the Five Love Languages has been translated in all these languages and New York bestseller and all those things. But now they have a test so that you can know what your love language is. In other words, how you express love, how you would like to experience love. And so I thought we'd have some fun today, and let's do this. So take out your phone, and I want to show you how to take the test. You don't have to take it right now. I just want to show you how to, okay? So if you don't have the Real Life app, go to your app store and type in these letters, MYRLLF. So don't type in Real Life. That'll be very confusing. But type in MYRLLF, and you'll see this app, and that's what you want to download, Real Life period right there. All right, and so that's how to get it. You can write it in your notes, MYRLLF. Now, the reason why you want this app is because when you click on the app and open it up, you will see very conveniently the love languages. There they are right there, and you can click on that box and take the test. It won't take you more than about 15 minutes. And the cool thing is you can take it, you can click on, I want to take the test because I'm married. I want to take the test because I'm single. Love all the singles at Real Life. You're awesome. I want to take the test. I'm a teenager. I want to take the test. I'm a kid. So even your kids can take this test and find out what your love language is. Now, when you're doing this, you're going to find a primary one, a secondary one, and it's very easy to take. Our daughter, 15 years old, took the teen test yesterday, very enlightening, and just her realizing, yeah, I like it when that happens, and this is how love is expressed to me. So let me tell you what the five love languages are and see which one. Some of them even resonate, but I want you to find out what yours is and take the test this week. But here's what they are. Write them down, and we'll unpack it during the series. But time. If time is your love language, you feel the most love when somebody just says, I want to spend time with you. I just want to hang out with you. Let's go experience something together. Let's go see this, do that, eat here, just hang out. I just love being with you, all right? That expresses love. It's just time, quality time. Here's another one, touch. This person's like, man, just getting a hug is awesome. Can you just hug me for like 1 minute? That would be fantastic, okay? If you have kids and their love language is touch, this is your snuggler. This is the one that's like nuzzling you on the couch, like, what are you doing? Like, this is your wrestler, like, come here. Yeah. This is like, I want to, be close to you, and that just says that you love me, okay? If this is for your spouse, this is like, you're in the mall, and it's like you just reach out and you just grab their hand, you're holding their hand in the mall, they're just like, I am so loved right now. It's amazing, okay? Now, here's another one, acts of service. So, service. This is when you do something for this person, that's love, okay? And this is that you're trying to figure this out with your kids. It's like some of your kids like really love to hug. Some of your kids you're like, hey, let's hug it out. You're like, no, I don't want to hug it. And if this is not, touch is not your love language, it's like, I don't need a hug. I just need you to take out the trash, okay? I need you to help me with the files. We need to fix something. And when you see something that I need, go run the errand for me and, doing something that's helpful for me, that's fantastic. That means you love me. Here's another one, words. Now this person may not need a physical hug, but when you say words that are affirming, you are awesome. Man, that was great. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. That's like a huge verbal hug, and it means more than anything else. And here's one, gifts. Now, this doesn't have to be big, expensive gifts. So this is not, his and her Mercedes in the driveway for Christmas commercial, right? Honey, look, no, okay? This is just small little tokens of love and that are sentimental, but they're a huge deal. It costs you something. I saw this magazine, H-E-B, I know it's your favorite magazine, I wanted to bring it home to you. It cost me something. I actually thought about you, and I just want to surprise you with that, and just says, I love you. Now, Rebecca and I took the test yesterday. It was super hilarious, and both of us scored very low on gifts, okay? So gifts is not how we would express love or want to receive it. Now, that does not mean that this Christmas I can just leave her stocking empty and no gifts under the tree. Well, hey, babe, that doesn't really mean a lot to you anyway. We all need all five of these. What you're going to find is that what's the best expression I can give, and that's your assignment for next week, okay? Find out what your love language is. And another part of that assignment is, if you're married, find out what your spouse's love language is. And friends, find out what a friend's love language is so that you can start to see, watch this, here's what happens in relationships. You like to receive love in a certain way, so you give that in a certain way, and that person's not receiving it because that's not what they need. But you're giving it to them like gifts is your love language. You're like, look, here's this, here's that, and they're just like, you wasted your time wrapping this. All you had to do was run an errand for me. And all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, I became selfish. Here's what's interesting. Gary Chapman recently was interviewed, and he said what's really fascinating in our culture, he wrote the book to help spouses interact with each other, so to find out what their love language is so you could meet their need. That's why he wrote it. But he said the test has overcome the message of the book, and now it's kind of like your horoscope sign, like, hey, I'm a Scorpio. It's kind of like, hey, I'm, quality time. Okay. And they're wearing it like, hug me. Like in other words, like, this is my need. Instead of what real mature love is what's your need, like in this story, and how can I minister, how can I help? And so find out what another person's is, find out what your kids are for sure, and your friends, okay? So once you see that need and you have compassion for it, write this down, then you're gonna look for opportunities to demonstrate that I love you. The Good Samaritan saw the need, moved in, demonstrated love in action. And there's opportunities everywhere for us. You just gotta look for them. Now here's the thing about opportunities. When they're there, and when you miss them, you miss them. So the priest, when he got to work, couldn't go, you know what, I should have stopped going all the way back. That guy's already gone. The opportunities, you already missed it. But they're every day, everywhere. A lot of times we think an opportunity is just like this big thing, like a mission trip. Like you got to go overseas and then you can meet everybody's needs over there because that's your opportunity. Now, I will say that is a great opportunity. So a little commercial break. We're going to Nicaragua this summer. If you're a man and you want to go on a trip and you want to see some needs and you want to meet some needs, sign up for Nicaragua, okay? So Nicaragua was 70% unemployment before COVID-19, 90% unemployment now. The needs are everywhere. It's a very safe trip, but we're going to ask the men to go down, build some stuff, and see some needs, minister and meet an opportunity that's amazing. Space is limited. We can only take about 20 guys. I think 7 or 8 are already signed up, so you got to put $75 down today out in the lobby if you're in person, Corpus or Austin, or online. Just put in the chat. Let us know you want to go. It's an opportunity, but you don't have to go overseas to meet a need. There's local mission opportunities. Let me just say a big shout out to our youth who helped at True Care, which is a ministry to single moms who many of them just have a crisis pregnancy and don't have anyone to help. And so our students went out, and over 20 youth in Austin went out and cleaned up outside and inside, stocked the pantry, did all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, just check out these pictures. I had a mom stop me and go, I didn't know he knew how to use a rake. But anyway, man, like, look, she's smiling and cleaning at the same time. And all of a sudden you realize, hey, this is fun. I'm doing something that's not about me. I'm meeting a need. And let's just give it up for the youth at Real Life. I love it. Good stuff. But when you start looking for opportunities, you don't have to go overseas, and we're going to go to Nicaragua, Ghana, Belarus, all coming up next year. Don't miss it, all right? But and not just local opportunities. If you have people in your house, you don't even have to leave home to find an opportunity. Just wake up, and they're there. Opportunities are everywhere, every day. And let me show you this. The 5 love languages in this story. Go look at verse 34. Going over to him. That's going to take time for you to go over to him. The Samaritan, watch this, soothed his wounds with olive oil and wine and bandaged them. That takes touch. I care enough to reach out and in a healthy way touch you. Then he put the man on his own donkey and, watch this, took him to an inn. That's acts of service. I'm going to run this errand. I'm going to help you in a way you can't help yourself. And then where he, watch this, took care of him. And this is inferred, but there were definitely words. Hey, you're going to be okay. Hey, I'm here. And you're doing great. The next day, he handed the innkeeper 2 silver coins, telling him, take care of this man, and if his bill runs higher than this, watch this, I'll pay. That's gifts. This is going to cost me something, and I'm all in. Next time I'm here, I'll pay the bill. Now, we need all 5. You need all 5 in your life, and that person that's in your life needs 2 big ones of these. You got to know what that is. And once you know the need, you can meet the need. Now, I want you to watch this. I told you what short circuits this compassion, and I've shown you what it looks like. And I want to show you how those go together. Watch this. I get so busy with my life, I've got no bandwidth for quality time to work. And then the next one, I'm hurting, and because of past hurt, I can't touch you in a healthy way that you need to be touched. I'm prideful, and that keeps me from what? From serving you, because I thought everything was about serving me, and you haven't really served me lately, and you haven't met my needs lately. So why would I? Pride. Selfish. I just want to talk about me. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm amazing. I want to talk about what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, and all the things in my life. I don't have time to affirm you with my words, because all my words are selfishly focused on me. And then I'm stingy, which means I'm going to spend all my money and my time and my energy on me, and I'm not going to buy any gifts for you, because that would cost me some of my things. But let me tell you, when we look at this story, and when you all of a sudden, you know how you want love expressed to you, and you take the time to see the needs of other people and how love needs to be expressed to them, all of a sudden, relationships, like in the story, go to the next level. And all of a sudden, there's a remedy to all this, and it's love. And real, mature, Christ-like love needs one more thing. Write it down. It needs to get support from other loving people. This is really important. You've got to have a life group. You've got to have people that are helping you. If you want to learn about love, you cannot go sit in your apartment and read a book about it and go, well, I'm done, I got it. Takes people. You got to hang out in community in the context of an environment of relationships. That's where you get it. That's where you learn it. If you want to be a great loving person, spend time with other loving people, and we've got life groups here at Real Life. And I just want to ask you, listen, I don't want to sign up for a year. Just during this series, would you sign up for a life group just for the next few weeks? You can do that by just texting RL groups to 97000. We've got groups everywhere. Just try one. And here's why: because you can't learn about love in isolation. You have to have community. And, I could give incentives. I'll give you a really small one, but you'll notice that if you're in person, the message notes have hole punch. So we've got these binders, and they're free. If you're in a life group or you're willing to try one, you just ask your life group leader. We just want you to have a place to save your notes and go back to them. You forget 90% of what you hear in 72 hours. So if you're online, just email your life group leader. We'll get you one. But just a small way to say, hey, get in a group and get one of these binders for free, but really be free in your relationships. So learn about how to love other people. Over and over again, the Bible says not to neglect community. Look at Hebrews 10, verse 24. It says, discover creative ways to encourage others and to motivate them toward, watch this, acts of compassion, doing beautiful works as expressions of love. And so I don't want you to miss the opportunity to say, you know what, right now I'm going to commit. I'm not going to miss a Sunday. I'm going to connect in person on Sunday or online. I'm going to connect. I need to grow in love. Make some time to try a life group. We got them all different parts of the week, times of day, different groups, men, women, couples, you name it, ages, all that. But get in a group. And you may have to rearrange your schedule. But if the highest goal in life is love, it's going to be worth it. And so I'm going to ask you to lean in and do that, okay? Now, we've got to learn together. Unfortunately, we've got a model for love. In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 2, it says this: keep company with God and learn a life of love. When you spend time with God, you're going to learn about love, real love. And a loving person is loving and patient and kind because they've spent time with God. So keep company with God. Watch this. Observe how Christ loved us. And that's what we're going to do in this series. We're going to see the practical, relevant ways Jesus displayed the 5 love languages in every relationship. And I'm telling you, when you look at this and how he did it and connect with other people during the week, and we connect together in community to watch this happen, your marriage is going to go to the next level. Your parenting is going to go to the next level. Your friendships are going to go to the next level. And you're going to have healthy relationships across the board because we're applying this. Now, look at what it says. It says, his love, Jesus, his love was not cautious but extravagant. He didn't love in order to get something from us, but to give everything of himself to us. Watch this. Love like that. You say, wait a minute, there's no way I can love like Jesus. You're right. So before we go out and apply this message to every other relationship, write this down, start with Jesus. Let Jesus come and live inside of you. That's the first step. And last week, over 100 people prayed to receive Christ and made that commitment. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. You don't have the power to love people like Jesus until he's inside of your life. And just whisper a prayer and say, Jesus, help me. Jesus, save me. Jesus, I need you. I need to love people, but I can't. Would you put your love inside of me and help me to experience your love. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch Jesus love people through you in the coming days. So we're going to start with Jesus. Now, here's what Jesus does. When you receive Jesus into your life, he doesn't just send you out and say, okay, go start loving other people. This is what he does. I want you to read it with me. Psalm 147, verse 3. Say it with me, real life. What does it say? He heals the brokenhearted and bandages their wounds. Now look right up here. The story of the Good Samaritan is probably familiar to you, but you probably thought it was Jesus heaping on guilt for how we don't love people. And why can't you be a better Good Samaritan like he was? And all of a sudden we just feel guilty walking out of here instead of how we need to feel. Watch this. That was not the intent of the story. The intent of the story Jesus was telling is, Jesus is saying, I'm the Good Samaritan. The most unlikely person is God to come from heaven to earth for you. And I saw your need, and all of us were helpless and hopeless. We couldn't help ourselves, and this world's beat us up. Our past has got us down, and things in this world have brought loss and pain and brokenness to our heart and relationships, and we can't move, we can't change it. Jesus, we can't fix it. And he says, I know, that's why I came along. And I died on a cross, and I rose again, and I reach out with nail-pierced hands. And what does Jesus do? He is not here today to condemn you or say, why are your relationships so messed up? Why is your family in conflict? Why isn't your marriage more healthy? How come your friendships are so broken? He's sitting here going, let me bind up your wounds. Let me heal your hurt. And when my love touches your heart and you all of a sudden have me inside of you, listen, that Good Samaritan was nursed back to health by genuine, true, mature love. And as soon as that person who was beaten up got healed, he was on that road every day of his life because his life was changed by the Good Samaritan. So would you bow your head and close your eyes? And let's ask Jesus to heal us today and help our relationships. Jesus, thank you so much that you saw us on the side of the road and all of us helpless, hopeless, unable to change or fix our relationships. And thank you, Jesus, that you come by today. And I pray that every heart would be open to you, the Savior, and that Jesus, right now, you would heal hearts, you would bind up wounds, that you would forgive the past, that we would let go of shame and guilt, and that we would take hold of healing and grace. And I ask that today, as you heal our hearts and fill our hearts with your love, as we choose to love you, Jesus, and choose to follow you today, Jesus, would you heal every heart and every home as we commit to you this day, that we will stop listening to the culture and we'll start following Christ. And we're going to go after a life of love and make it our highest goal in our relationships. So, Father, bless every marriage, every home, every family. God, bless every single, bless every teenager in our church, and ask that, Father, that we would display love and be changed by love, and that you would love people through us this week. But we ask it in the name of the greatest lover of all time, Jesus Christ. And everybody said, amen. Let's give God a hand for his love and his grace.
Thank you so much, Pastor Micah. Everybody give it up for Pastor Micah one more time. Hey, my name